Hi there, and welcome back to the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Melotti from Melotti Media, and this is another special episode with my fellow marketers, Kristin from Font & Swatch and Mike from Oddball Marketing. So the three of us sit down to discuss the current 2023 business and market trends and what you need to know now to make well-informed decisions in the near future. So as you, as a business owner, would know, the market shifts. Businesses change, customers evolve, everything keeps moving. And so it's really important that you listen to podcast episodes like this where we all share information on the latest so that we can all make better and well-informed decisions. So have a listen to this podcast. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot out of it and you can use the information we present to combine it with your own knowledge to make better decisions next year. So enjoy the episode.
Welcome back, everybody. We are the four marketers. We're back here today. We're going to give you a really quick episode on the trends that each one of us are seeing in our business and across our markets. I'm Kristin Hancock. I'm here with Chris Melotti and Mike Sandys from Oddball. So, Chris, I'm going to let you jump in with this one.
Yep. So in the messaging, for trends in messaging, what I'm seeing is that people are going beyond just brand messaging and they are wanting corporate messaging, social justice messaging, diversity messaging, corporate identity messaging, and even into individual brands and now even past the sale in what I'm calling nurture messaging. So they're the ones I'm seeing. So like in the past, it's always been, tell me how my brand should speak. Now it's like, tell me how my corporate identity should sound. Tell me how I should be talking to customers after we've made the sale. Give me a script for my sales team so that they can improvise on some sort of bone structure. And so in my space, it's copywriting isn't so much changing. It's the messaging and the messaging guidelines that we do.
What are they trying to achieve? Is this like a brand building exercise is it, what is it? Where are they trying to get to?
Yep. Look, essentially what they're trying to do is we're getting people going, give us clarity. Because what I find in businesses is that there's a lot of, like, they're growing and there's a lot of different thinking and diversity, and that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. But what it is then what happens is everyone has a different interpretation of what their brand should be, what their corporate identity, what their vision and mission is. And so what I'm seeing now is businesses are starting to get a little bit more collaborative. So in the past, I found that it was very hierarchical. You know, there was management had vision and mission and no one else was in charge. And then there was like the people that were the doers and they sort of had their own different perspectives on things. Now what I'm finding is a lot of clients are coming to us and they're saying, we've got our team together and this is what we all think. This is our combined thinking. Articulate it for us. And so like I've had universities come to us and say, we want a social justice
Is that putting the language across the business? So
correct.
It's the commonality in the language. So each of the different functions are saying, right, we have this message we need to get out there, but it's got to be in this corporate language.
Yep. And they'll say, they will say everyone should be involved. So they'll bring like the whole team together and they'll say, Chris, you have that knack of listening in and interpreting everything and putting it together. So like we've had new products being launched that are completely new in, say, crypto or fintech. And they'll say, we have all of our ideas, but and this is especially in technology. I'm seeing that in, say, fintech, a new platform will have 7 different aspects of it. So it'll be like, it does automatic payments and it does pipeline management and it does financing. And so what they'll do is they'll go, Chris, we need this to say this in a sentence. And we need to do this. We need to be able to articulate it to a customer that will actually understand. And then you can't just go, here's 7 products. You have to say, stop fearing finance and things like that. And so that's what I'm seeing in the trends today is people are building products and building teams and getting more collaborative. And they're looking for that messaging side of someone who can come in and go, this is what you need. And that's what we're doing at Melotti Media at the moment.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds unbelievable.
So that's big year.
Yeah, that's a big year. So
Kristin,
branding, creative. So what we're seeing is a lot of change in the way colour's being used. I mean, it's
so exciting.
It is. It's what we'd kind of expect because brands, even brands that are predominantly print versus digital, they're still realising now that there is no other way. You've still got to have a strong digital presence. So we're seeing a lot of contrasting colours coming in, which allows for that dark background, light front, so that you're really popping colours. So they'll be complementary in the colour spectrum.
Good.
And it adds that vibrancy. So we're seeing a lot of that. We're also seeing, and this is one that, I'm happy to say we picked some time ago and we've got evidence of it, gradients are back.
Yep.
So gradients are coming back. We're seeing those, a lot of the shimmer coming through. So that's really exciting to see that because it becomes very playful and you can get a lot of your colour spectrum going through. And on digital, it works.
It looks so nice.
So good.
Like when you see those platforms and it's got that shimmery rainbow, but it's not like this. It's like a conversion.
A shimmer, it's a transition, basically. So, we're really excited about that. We've used that in a couple of brands. It's got to be right for each brand, but that's really a trend that we're noticing. Another one, which is,
I love this. You're so proud of this.
Another one, which is, we see this as very much early 90s, but colour overlay.
Yeah.
So this is when you've got a purple and you overlay a pink, or you've got two similar tonal colours, but you're overlaying them to create a third colour. And you're doing it really, really tech-focused, really modern brands that are just wanting to push themselves out there. And they're just amazing. So we're really loving that. And it then creates... So you've got primary and secondary colour palettes, but you're almost creating a tertiary colour palette by overlaying the two colours.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And the visual look is absolutely stunning. So it looks new and it looks fresh. So you're out there in the market and you're doing something really different that the market's catching eye. So it's I'm sure you'd be seeing a lot of stimulation coming through in the digital media. A couple of the don'ts. So thankfully,
I do. You're ahead of this one too.
Finally, pastels and chalky tones and earthy tones, they're gone. My God. COVID is officially ended.
Yep.
Lockdown is officially ended. People's desire to be, in a symbiotic space and, doing a lot of meditation, tranquil, is finally leaving us. So that whole pastel element is just leaving the digital space because it's not attracting enough attention. People were looking to be calm. They were looking to be conservative. There was enough stress in their environment. They didn't want to see it coming through on their socials. Now they're flipping. Now, really bold, and that contrast that I was talking before, because what we did pick up on, so there's one of the global forecasters, WGSN, who put out theirs. They actually got really bold and put out 2023 and 2021 of what the colours would be, and they were a step beyond the chalks and the pastels. They were like a sundial. You would have seen them all over our website, like digital lavender, very space orientated, quite modern, forward thinking, but I actually feel that the market has moved beyond it. So they've gone a lot more aggressive, a lot more quickly, and the vibrancy's come back. A few other areas we have seen two trends come through in the graphics. So we're seeing a lot of illustrations, and we've also seen a lot of street art. So the illustrations we're finding are still there, and it's easy, particularly for businesses that are emerging or on a tear, if they're not wanting to get stuck with a particular look where they're involving imagery that is human orientated, so people shots, the illustrations allow them to stay modern and more current for longer because their audience might evolve. So we've seen more of that, and that's been exciting. The one that also was there was the street art, and that very street art. Well, it's new, but it seems to have gone huge spike. And then now people have seen it, and everybody got on board. Like everything from digital media right down to you step into a local cafe and they've done like cool street art menus and this kind of stuff. And now it feels worn and tired now.
Right.
Totally. And then fonts. Really moving digital, clear, geometric sans serif, so easy on the eye, easy to read, very clear. We still are waiting for the serif trend to come back as digital gets better and better and more clear, but it's not arrived yet. So
And that was my question. I found that over the last years, branding, and like I'm talking logos, has really pulled back to conservative. Like look at Yves Saint Laurent and like all those really fancy brands are now really 2D and simplistic.
Yeah, really.
Do you see that reshift, like changing back?
No, not for a while. I think that simplification is just creating timeless style and clarity of brand and a lot of clear space. I think what we will see will be more emerging trends, but I think you'll see, like you used the Yves Saint Laurent, I think you'll see that simplification of the logo continue and single tone, because it allows the logo to be there and be clear and consistent, but for more of the brand, what the brand stands for, to be shown.
Yeah, and understand.
Yeah, so that it's the message that you're getting through, more on visual, that allows the space to breathe, and you've still got that subtle subconscious brand associations.
I mean, that also fits with the capabilities on web now, where the ability to use sort of more different kind of fonts and stuff. We're not as limited now.
Oh, Google's been phenomenal. Like thousands and free. They're all free fonts too with Google, so that they've been amazing. Some of the Google fonts that we're getting to use now, we're really excited. I'd like to see Microsoft adopt a few more of them, just to make life a bit easier. I think they do. Yeah, they do need to move on. I mean, like you create amazing brands that are adopting great Google fonts for all of their web-based points, but then you go to Microsoft and it says, "Rightio, what's the Microsoft equivalent?" Because we're not able to download that. So it's a bit frustrating. But anyway,
so that's brands.
That's brands.
Tick.
That's brands. Tick.
Mark her up. What's your trends?
Look, in terms of all the different actual application sort of channels and stuff, we know that social is constantly evolving. We're seeing that, particularly at the moment when you look at the Twitter implosion that's kind of going on. But you're seeing also the rise of TikTok and Facebook now sort of.
Well, someone said to me, and so I don't mean to cut you off, but someone said to me just yesterday, they predict 2 years Facebook gone.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, that's pretty bold. But like...
It's rough from an advertising point of view, not so
much.
because
just curious.
All the platforms, Facebook's the most mature from an advertising point of view. A lot of the other ones still, they work, but it's a lot more challenging. I mean, Meta's hard enough as it is, using their platform as it keeps evolving as such as well. Non-stop challenges and stuff. But so we're seeing that, and we are seeing even within, say, Facebook, that the performance of ads and stuff is getting much more difficult.
Yep.
You're having to do a lot more nurturing and having, from a funnel point of view, do a lot more work top of funnel. And there's certain post types and stuff like that that are performing better than others. Yep. So the style and approach there is changing a little bit. But the channels themselves also, looking at sort of the rise of TikTok as such, is pretty significant. And I dare say next year we'll see that. And it'll be interesting to see how, as Twitter goes through its challenges now, how that translates when people, which are already jumping ship, and the different platforms that start to sort of rise and take over. Yeah. So that'll be a really interesting one, just on the social front. From a search point of view, we see that market's fairly mature now. So there's not too much that's changing. Things are evolving. Google's always updating the algorithms and stuff. So there's a bit going on from a SEO front. But certainly from a Google Ads point of view, that's pretty mature platform and stuff, and works well. We're seeing it fairly competitive now. So the price that people are prepared to pay on a cost per click basis is getting horrendously high.
I've heard.
We came
ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, we saw. I'm trying to think who it was. One of our clients. We did some keyword research to look at running an ad campaign for them, and I think for the first time ever, we came across some keywords at about $120 per click. Which was just
and that's a lot if you think about it. But see, they probably work it out as that's justified, because if they get a few clicks, they probably get more money.
Well, at the end of the day, if you track that the click right through to actual conversion, if the conversion rate's there. You can make money.
True.
$50,000.
Correct. So it can still be very profitable if done well and for the right keywords.
Quite unique, though.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would have been a lot more of them.
Yeah. The danger of it is that you're dealing with a whole lot of companies, and these are large companies that are spending a phenomenal amount of money and are not tracking things properly, and they're not making decisions rationally.
Really?
They've got the wrong data that they're looking at and the wrong analysis, and so they're spending a lot of money on campaigns that really, when you look at it, just aren't justified. And from a competitive standpoint, you go, well, how do you compete? The price, that's the price. And if you can't make it work, where the real secret to it going forward will be is how you build funnels off of the keywords that you then target. And what I think in search we'll see happening over the next few years is that we start to move away from it being looking at it from a bottom of funnel kind of approach, and saying, we'll just do it
search to nurture rather than search to click.
Yeah, you might be starting to seeing more people targeting earlier on when they're doing research and looking for specific answers to challenges or problems, and getting them into the funnel earlier on, which is, that's a strategy that's not new. It's been in play for 15 years. But a lot of companies that we've dealt with in the past only look at the bottom of the funnel. And just want to be focused on that area, as opposed to saying, when you look at it from a dollar point of view, it just doesn't make sense. And so if you go a little bit further up the funnel, you can actually get lower cost keywords that you can target. But what you've got to do is just have very good funnels that you can manage and nurture people through to actually become a customer later on. So because it's so competitive in that space, you've got to find that sort of blue ocean. Where's the other?
I see. So you're bypassing the expensive keyword because you're targeting a keyword that would be earlier on.
Exactly. Either that,
so interesting.
or you look at your product mix and you start to diversify your product mix, or you develop it where you're not just buying the one product, but you've actually got other ancillary products that people can kind of get into and purchase that mean that your average cost or your average transaction, instead of being only one transaction that they make with you, they then either ideally make multiple transactions over a long span where you go, okay, well, I'm losing money on the first or even the second purchase, but by the third, fourth, fifth, I'm now making good money on that. And if you look at it from a survival point of view, those are the businesses that are going to survive and thrive, are the ones that have the ability to continue to generate income off it. Because again, you're in competition, and if you're able to monetize a customer at a higher price point in terms of make more money on them over the long term, you can spend more. That's your competitive advantage, right? So it's not rocket science stuff, but we're seeing that happening more and more as
more technical, more competitive.
Yeah, and that's where data is critical, and also where Google's doing a lot of work as well is the ability in terms of the attribution tracking, and not just looking at last click or even first click. It's basically saying, where are the different channels that people are experiencing the brand or the products or services, and then how is that then funneling through to end up being an actual customer? Because it's not as simple as this linear thing where they just go, oh, well, they go to this step, then this step, then this step, and that's it. They've made a purchase. It doesn't work like that,
7
right?
to 15 touch
all
points.
those different touch points. Yeah. So the ability to track all of that and kind of pull that data together, that's the stuff that we'll see more and more in future. They're working really hard to gather that information, but then actually to connect the dots between all of those so that we can make better decisions.
Fantastic. Well, guys,
I'm
I
good.
think that's
That was really good. Good
Yeah.
session. Hopefully that covered all the trends.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.